Organisations must adapt to the new ways of working and ensure that leaders are aware of industrial digital technologies. They need to be upskilled as well, and if the roles don't already exist within that organisation, then they need to be recruited and retained. We've seen a lot of skill gaps between departments, not just IT/OT, but also engineering, projects, R&D and commercial. But we're here to talk about operational efficiency today and not new business models. If we are going to start building smart factories, then we will need to create more flexible ways of working and develop those remote working capabilities into the plant floor. First of all, finding the right leadership and learning the right skills. Stakeholder engagement and support is critical. CISOs, CTOs, CPOs, production directors all need to mind the gaps and ensure that there is clear guidance on what skill requirements for data acquisition and management or technological solutions may not appropriately be planned and/or implemented. IT and OT policies provide the governance that will enable management and help them get things done when teams are working in distributed ways. With communication, if OT departments do not already exist, create them by building virtual teams. And this is important because responsibility across all layers needs to be assigned to the right people. In some organisations, particularly advanced manufacturing, IT may deliver all the services that engineering requires. But in the vast majority of organisations we see, they do not have the ability to work across disciplines. And in which case, build virtual teams by moving engineers into IT and IT staff into engineering for several months. Some of our customers do this automatically with IT graduates, for example. This is more feasible now in remote working environments, but remember, teams that are used to working, communicating in shared physical spaces may find the change in daily work challenging or isolating, and remote communications can also bring security risks. If your facilities, teams and management are not fully, securely and efficiently connected, activities such as keeping the machines running and gathering manufacturing data will still need to be done on-site and manually, which can generate delays in decision-making and process optimization. And not having full visibility and control over your machinery and systems can cause unexpected downtime, which is the downtime we don't want. And in those situations, your top priorities are always going to be safety and getting your systems back online, of course, given that every minute of having your production system stopped could cost thousands. And that's the opposite of efficiency and the chief enemy of productivity. Engineers generally are and should be cautious when it comes to trusting new technology, especially when making changes on control systems. Remember, we're not just talking about data acquisition for meeting process improvement KPIs, we're talking about uptime and availability. How do you go about mitigating at least some of the risk when opening access to your systems, especially when trends suggest that we will continue to see cyber attacks on our businesses increase? One security vendor shows that the manufacturing sector at the beginning of the pandemic, the top scorer in receiving attacks to their corporate and internal networks, which was around 88% of the attacks. But it's not just vendors describing this, it's also trade organisations like EAF and Make UK, who say that 48% of their members have been subject to a cybersecurity incident, and half of those organisations suffered financial loss or disruption to their business. Talking with our customers and seeing what we see on their systems, we concur with that, and we all know that these are just the incidents that are actually being reported. So we need to weigh the pros and cons of providing access to our systems, whether for data exchange, with supply chain or for remote commissioning, very carefully. And it's not always going to be one size fits all either. So where a product or technology that has worked very well for information security may not be the right application for operational technology. If that access is not managed appropriately across the organization, the impact of a single cyber attack on an industrial network could cause weeks of downtime, resulting in millions lost from stopped production and reputational damage. And ransomware is a very real threat for a lot of our customers with legacy operating systems, unpatched software and open architectures. And putting all of these requirements together, what does a good approach to delivering services into industrial networks and systems look like? And where do you actually start? There are common challenges across all the different organisations we work with, and we hear the same problems in just about all of them. We don't have the leadership, we don't have the skills, we don't have the budgets, and IT/OT doesn't get what we do and switch that round vice versa, depending on who you talk to, of course. So to help you deliver your strategic intent, we came up with the LSD+t approach. So leadership and governance, working with businesses, we identify who the key stakeholders are, and hint, these are the people who understand what needs to be done, but don't know how to get there. The owners of the assets can be directors, managers, engineers, and even in some cases, these can be operators. With skills at a departmental level to get real organisational change, automation, OT, IT all need to work together. So we set up virtual teams comprising not only of stakeholders, but also peers in other companies or industries that have already been there and learnt some of the lessons. Data analytics and cybersecurity skills are very much in demand. So if you can reduce the amount of time to mature in these areas, it can bring a competitive advantage to all. And data, who needs it? But in all seriousness, most organisations have teams with an exceptional knowledge of their systems and know what may need to be done to optimise a process or to speed up or slow down a production line. The problem is that knowledge usually isn't transferable across from one site to another, let alone the business. You may already have the data aggregated in SCADA, MES, ERP systems, or you may be starting from scratch with data directly coming off the PLC or a sensor on a machine. The objective has to be, what does good look like, and how can we A, centralise that at an organisational level to benefit from those digital twins of the future, and B, how can we remotely access the machines to make sure they carry on doing what they need to be doing at scale? And then finally, the T, technology. Use the right technology and the right vendor to be more productive. We often hear, if I had £1,500 or $2,000, I could buy a new PLC, which would make me more money and save me more downtime than the firewall you're trying to sell me will ever do. Of course, we get that and we do agree. Whatever tool or tooling you need to get the job done also needs to be flexible and easy enough to use across all your vendors, SIs and OEMs, but is ideally also secure by design so that it's compliant or aligns with the NIST Cybersecurity Framework 1.1, IEC 62443, NIST Directive at a minimum.